Hello, what's going on? Uh, it's another crazy day. Crazy weather. It's like really windy, whippy. It's like the weather this year has been so strange. It doesn't even feel like the same state. It feels like we're in Scotland or we're in the moorlands, where the med dogs roam. Uh, it's weird. It's like you can tell something's up because like there's so many mushrooms this year, like, and they're huge, like huge mushrooms. They're like the size of bowling ball, basketball, even. uh that's pretty crazy. It's like the animals, man, be just like there's dead animals everywhere, like they're running out and committing suicide. And I heard of something in Ohio called the zombie animal disease, where animals are getting strangely close to humans. They're doing weird stuff. They're not like acting normal. And I don't know if we got a case of that, of it's making the animals like not as like alert, but it's dead animals everywhere. It's been creepy. uh I actually seen a snake not too long ago. It was like 5 foot long, up here in Michigan. I didn't know there was 5 foot long snakes in Michigan. My grandma used to tell me stories about giant snakes in Canada. Uh, Pretty odd, right? You wouldn't think snakes would live in Canada, but maybe they could. I don't know. I didn't think there was ones that big here. But it's like the bugs, man. There's like bugs everywhere, and they are just like being extra pesky. When I was in Detroit, I was down in Taylor, Michigan, and it's like the mosquitoes down there were extremely aggressive. I mean, they were like, rah, rah, they were just on. And you look, I'm in different spots and the mosquitoes are pretty, they suck. It doesn't matter where you go. This is Michigan, and this year it is cold and dark and wet, dude. And it's just like, and what's weird, as soon as the dark, cold, wet, we'll get like one day where it's really hot, like, look, and then it like cooks the atmosphere again, and then the wet, cold, dark comes back in, and then just hammers us with some more moisture. But it's like right now, it seems like things are prone to decay. You know what I mean? Because of the atmosphere and the environment is it's like dark, and the absence of sunlight causes mold and mildew and stuffs like that to be more abundant than when it's dry, and washed with sunlight, because it kind of does wash things. There's chemical processes going on. But it's another thing I noticed. It's like one day I was like, dang, all the rocks look really freaking really great. Like, why do they look so colorful? And then, the more I thought about it and I pondered upon it, I was like, it's because the pH level of the water is different now. Or maybe it could be the electromagnetic frequencies, man. Because of the Wi-Fi and the smart meter and the freaking Stingray devices and the HARP and the Gwen and the freaking CERN and freaking microwave secret black ops, silent kill techniques. But it's like, I recently I found out you can dissolve the the like less dense parts of stones with vinegar. And in this process of learning stuff about this, I was like, I started looking at it and I saw the chemical reaction. I'm like, man, dude, I bet you if you put some wires in there and attach the light bulb to that would turn on. You know what I mean? And I ain't tried it yet, but the more I look at it, there's crazy stuff going on. Like a little piece of quartz, um, uh, when a little piece of quartz crystal is struck with a piece of brass, it creates a little arc, a little spark. Like there's probably quartz used in this phone here. And it seems like even just regular rocks you wouldn't think are they're kind of uh magnetic, dude. It's like they can make a battery out of just a little rock out of the yard. You know, it's kind of strange. So maybe our environments have been more like Wi-Fi, and we all along. If even the rocks give off a freaking magnetic field, can generate, you can tap electricity out of them. Uh, and when you strike a quartz with a piece of brass, an arc is actually like when you get a static charge when you rub your socks on the floor and you touch somebody, and it creates that. You know what I mean? Which is kind of that's kind of a strong little thing. You know, yeah, man, all this stuff is freaking crazy. It's like, but when I started to look at the rocks more closely, I was like, man, it's like seems like the pH or something is different. And I noticed when you give the rocks the bath and acidic stuff, the colors like get way more awesome. Like look at like some stones, you'll put them in there, and by the time you pull them out, they're a Petoskey. So, you know, I was thinking Petoskey stones were just like just a singular kind of thing, but it's like some stones are Petoskey. It's just they haven't been melted down enough yet. It's just like really weird. It's a strange substance. But you know, uh, ponder this sort of thing. Then you know, then when you look at like frequencies and the technology they got now and vibrations and stuff, and then you got these hurricanes and this fire and this freaking. It's like the Earth is like a big freaking like a furnace right now. One of those bellows. It's like a bellow system, just and they're really ramping it up. Uh, they're turning up the juice, and it's obvious because you can see it. But yeah, it's like you can tell like things are like changing on like you know they're really like they're really hammering down hard right now, and everything is kind of feeling the tax, feeling the burden. Uh, it really sucks because there's a lot of innocent things like the animals that are acting like zombies. That you know they're dying because of the scientists playing with their machines and messing with the ecosystem and the environment and the atmosphere and just the very mind and the psyche of mankind with their lies. You know, and just like those rocks in a way, it's like it's toxic and acidic, and it kind of wears like the outer layer off you, and either it melts you away like the Wicked Witch of the West, or you know, it it polishes some of the rocks. You know what I'm saying? But others, it just kind of melts them away. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what's going on out here. You know, and you can see it. It's pretty creepy. I watched a video the other day where it showed basically a case of liquefaction, and it was in India, and this earthquake was happening, and there was a tidal wave. There was all this concession of horrible, horrific, disastrous stuff, and it showed this video. This dude was running with his camera, and literally the ground was opening up under his feet, and like he was running, there was a baby lying on the ground crying, like look, and the earth was rolling, like and sucking things in and spitting other things out, and everything just went. But you know, that's a powerful thing. Like literally, your whole history footprint could be wiped off the face of the earth, uh, perhaps forever. in a
fuck is that shit?
Shit nuggets, rabbit shit.
That's not a rabbit shit.
Uh,
I cleaned up the rabbit shit.
Rabbit shizzle.
This is some fucked up shit, though.
That's basically SHFT.
Throw this too with it.
Oh,
sorry.
It's an SHFT type situation these days for everybody. Like, I see, like, everybody's going through it in one way or another, like in a major way. Like, it's so obvious. It's strange how it reaches out, like in little waves like that. There's like a wave, and then there's a freaking earthquake, and then there's a freaking meteorite, and then there's a forest fire, and then there's a famine, and then there's a war, and then there's a freaking look. There's it's just coming like. There's a, what is it? Maybe it's in Zechariah, and he's talking about, in that day you'll flee from the lion, and then you'll get hit by the bear, or you'll put your hand on the wall, and serpent will bite you. It's like things will be following you around. Like, look, like in Egypt, when the spirit of death came over Egypt, and the firstborn of Pharaoh's household died. It's stuff like that. And I read in the Apocrypha this account of signs right before Jerusalem was invaded in 70 AD, and there was all these signs. Like, there was a comet in the sky that was the shape of a sword. It was there for a year before the event happened, or 7 years or something like that. And there was also recorded strange lights hovering over the Temple Mount, and it was like this one. It wasn't the glory that was coming down. It was like it was the wrath. You know what I mean? Was coming down, and people didn't recognize it at the time. Like, it's crazy, but we're seeing stuff like that right now, dude. Like, I even heard that strange light over the Temple Mount in Israel not too long ago. It's like, it's creepy. It's creepy. I'm glad I'm not there right now. But yeah, it's in the Apocrypha, and it's like, see, accounts like that. I mean, even though the King James Bible is full of supernatural stuff, but there's that Apocrypha's got some crazy like details in it too, that it just gives more like evidence of that supernatural stuff, like freaking like the earthquake happening as they stabbed Christ with the spear, you know what I'm saying, on Golgotha or whatever. And then the temple was, the veil was rent in two. He told them, like, there'll be no stone left upon one another, and they thought he meant something else, but it meant that thing in 70 AD when the army came in and sacked the city or whatever, something like that, something to that effect, man. But it's really crazy. A lot of that stuff's going on right now. So I've been seeing it for a while, like a year or more of this kind of thing, where it's like the term, when you reap what you sow, right? It's like, because the loops, just history repeats itself. Like, we look like Rome when it was in its decline. You know what I'm saying? Like, the world does. It's not just this country, it's all of them. They're going out like that. And it's always tragic, even for the people who take the bait and become the world emperor. Most of them die some horrible death, and sometimes they're just so insane and tormented and just isolated, because to be the number one only king, look, that's make you really fucking paranoid and steal the joy out of life. So these guys end up smoking themselves a lot of the times. In history, you can look that up. But yeah, it's like, stuff's really like, it's everything in the kitchen sink.